Good morning. Today I'm going to attempt to make some trunk hinges. Now there's two ways you can make your trunk hinges on this sort of vehicle. You can have exterior hinges, one there, one over there. But if you want to maintain the flow of the design, you kind of want the hinges on the inside. Now to do the inside hinges is quite different from the outside, because you basically have to make a kind of U-shaped hinge. So I'll just lift this off and I'll show you what I'm talking about. Right, let's see what's going on under here. So any hinge will get attached to this solid bracket here, which is nice that someone's already done. I don't need to take care of that. So I made this basic template to show you what I'm talking about. Okay, that will be a hole. There'll be two of these. One will go about there, one over at the other side. Okay, so let's say that that's attached to there on a pivot, and the trunk lid's attached to this section here. Okay, so that will sit there when it's closed. When you open, that curves round. You see why it's got to be U-shaped. This will obviously need to be a bit wider at this section there, okay, to clear it if I want to open it further than, 90 degrees. I want it to kind of go up that way, so it kind of sits back a little bit. So one there, one over the other side, and that's how it will hinge. Okay, the only downside to doing an internal hinge setup is you lose a little bit of space in the inside, but I've got plenty of space. I'm not worried about some space there. It's not like I'll be going on holidays. Oh, maybe I will one day, who knows. So the trunk side, luckily this trunk lid was designed to have internal hinges, so I've already got the holes here. That one will need to be drilled out. That one looks like it might be okay. That one needs drilled out. That one needs drilled out. So a bit of work to prep that, or I could just weld a new bracket on top, which is much easier. So for materials, I've got a choice. I could use the standard 1-inch square tubing. That kind of looks a wee bit basic. So other options would be 1-inch angle iron, which I've got plenty of, but my personal favourite will be this looks about 3/4 inch tubing. This bit's scrap anyway. As you can see, it's all bent, which is fine because I'm going to be bending it anyway. So if I make two U-shaped sections of that on my good old pipe bender, then that should work fine, and then weld one end onto a bracket for the trunk lid and one end onto a bracket for the swivel. So let's make up some templates, take some measurements, see how we get on with that. So I've already lost my highly accurate cardboard template, so I'm going to just experiment with one section first, just to see if it's going to work, if the angle's right, all that stuff. Total guess, but if I get this one right, then I can measure it and make two proper ones. Better to make it too long, and then I can cut it down to size. Oh, that's not right. This won't be able to do the full bend. I'll need to manually do the final tight bend. I can already tell I don't think this is going to work. Unless I do it in two sections. Yeah, I could do that. It does make a nice bend, but it obviously needs to come back up that way again, you know. Yeah, I'll do another bend and then I'll chop it and then weld them together to get the U-shape. I'm going to try something that may or may not work. Probably not, but you know, give it a shot. It's where I lose a hand. Well, I'm going to have to use my knee for this. Breaking the rules, but hey, I'm nearly there. Hey, this is what I've got. Oh, awkward is my middle name. Okay. It's not bad actually. If I just close this up now manually, then I've got pretty much the angle I want. So I will, I'll chop it here, close it up, see how it looks. As Bob Ross would say, I've made a happy little accident. So this is the angle that I've ended up with. I've not closed it up like I said, which is just as well. If you check out where the hinge mount is for this, it's actually quite far in. So if I use this angle here to there, roughly the middle, then that's going to be just fine. I can chop it down a little bit so it'll sit in a bit there. And if I show you how it's going to work at the back, so that will sit in roughly there, and then when it's open, oops, that was a bad example. When it's open, it'll go around to there. So I just need to duplicate this, which is easily done. Yeah, I'll just follow the same steps. I'll recreate another one of these. The main thing is to get both of these pretty much exactly the same, so that it doesn't try and bend the trunk lid. Right, let's make another. So I managed to make a couple of U-shapes after all. Not too bad. Now, they're way too long, okay? I'm probably going to be cutting them there-ish. But first I'm going to do some YouTubing and Googling just to see if there's a sort of general guidelines for size for these. If I cut them too short, I've messed it up and need to start again. So that'll require a little bit of research, and then I'll get back on it. Right, I did a bit of research. Unfortunately, most of the hinge fabrication stuff is based on existing mounting points, which I don't have. I've just got a solid bar going across the back of the inside of the trunk lid area. So it's going to be trial and error. So what we'll do is, I'm quite happy with the shape of these two. They're pretty similar, okay? This was the first one I did, which is a bit messed up. As you can see, it's quite badly creased there, but the shape's similar. So I'm going to start chopping it there and there, and then make mounting brackets for these areas. This could be a problem. I really don't have the proper tap and die set to, you know, rethread holes. So my choices are to just weld a plate on, which I'd rather not do, because I don't want to have to mess about with, you know, if I take it off, I don't want to have to take it off from the pin side and the inside. We'll see. The other option would be drill these all out and put in the threaded inserts, which, you know, they're not bad, but they're aluminum, so they might not be strong enough to take the weight of this whole thing. But hey, I can try that first. That's the easiest option. And if they're really not strong enough, then I can just weld a bracket on. The other thing I noticed about the shape of the hinges, I'm kind of right with the U shape, but where this section joins here, it should actually curve and go flat to be one piece. You know, so I will need to weld this onto another plate. I knew that anyway, but I wasn't sure if it was to go there or where, but it should go a bit there. So I'll give that a shot. See how I get on. Next, I have almost made my hinge assemblies. This needs to get welded onto that plate, and you know what, I've run out of patience, so I'm just going to weld those plates straight on to there and to there, but I'll kind of tack them on for now in case I want to go the nut and bolt route. But this has been a quick day. I'm running out of time already. These top brackets, they'll just get welded straight onto the underside of the body, and that will hinge up like that. You notice I've cut an angle here. I've worked out that if you cut that angle there straight across, then when that lifts up, the top of the trunk will fill on this side. So you do need that sort of angle. Plus the trunk lid slopes down to the right anyway. So first thing I'm going to do is weld these plates onto the trunk lid, and then weld these on to them. Make sure they're straight. Let's do that. Hinges are tacked on for now. So the next step is to lay the trunk lid on the trunk, get inside and tack those brackets on, and hopefully it all lines up beautifully. Well, that plan was terrible. I discovered that if I weld these on to the trunk lid first, then there's absolutely no way to tell where the top brackets are supposed to be. So I've chopped them off, and I'm going to weld these brackets onto the car first, then lay this on top, and then when I swivel these up, I'll know exactly where to weld them on. Much better idea. It's getting a bit dark and a bit freaking cold out there though, so I don't know if we'll finish tonight. May stop, get a wee bit of a heat up. We'll see. Okay, another morning. I had time last night to think about my errors. So basically you really have to get the hinge brackets on the body first for this to work. It's just a guessing game if you attach them to this first. So I've marked here where the bracket's going to attach on the inside of the trunk lid, same at the other over that side. And then I've obviously lined this on top, and then I've taken a line from there across to where the other side of the hinge is going to attach. So if I do that one first and then that one, make sure those two are lined up, then lay this on top, then bring the hinges up to meet, and then tack them on. That's the way to do it. Well, that's today's idea at least. Let's see how I get on. Still cold, but not impossible to work in. So that's the hinges tacked on for now, or the hinge brackets tacked on for now. So now you can see the movement they'll be doing. They'll sit there attached to the underside of the trunk lid. When you open, they'll curve up like that. I can hear someone having fun over there. Okay, so next step. Lay the trunk lid in the hole where it's supposed to rest. Go inside the car, lift these hinges up to meet the trunk lid, tack them on, see where we are. If there's one thing I've learned about building hot rods, well, this is only my second one, but learn to expect mistakes, okay, and then work out how to fix them. So the hinges are only tacked on temporarily, okay. Now I do this for a reason, because I kind of always, if you always expect to fail, then don't put too much work into the initial process, okay. Here's what I mean. So the trunk lid's sitting quite nicely, okay, even though it's just tacked on. However, if I try and lift it up, it immediately fails at the hinge point, okay. Let's see if I can show you here. Now I knew this might be an issue, so that's something that I now have to sort out. I did a little bit of research and I found a pretty cool little CAD 3D animation of where you should mount the pivot points, okay. I will link to that in the description. Basically, this is your pivot point. The pivot point has to be higher than the trunk lid joining point, okay. So this pivot point has to come up to about here for it to work. But as I say, trial and error, and I've not invested really much into this. I mean, I did spend a day yesterday, but I'll treat that as another learning experience, and now I shall fix it. Let's do that then. Well, that was a ball ache. Finally figured it out. So it's sitting quite level, but at least I've got the physics sorted. I've also found this hydraulic dampener. Obviously won't go there, but it's strong enough to lift it, so that's good. I'll use that somewhere. So I've pretty much decided that these hinges are prototypes because they are a mess, okay, total mess. But the shape's right, and if I want the trunk lid to be any higher, oops, I will need to notch out that section there. As you can see, the hinge is starting to hit the bottom of that. But you know what? I think this is high enough. It'll do. It will frickin' do. So yeah, 2 days to figure that one out. But it's done now. Inside, I don't know if you can see, it was like 2 inches lower. It has to be higher than the trunk lid or it just won't work. Any more questions? Leave a comment. Thanks for watching. I'm going to get warm.